Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Daily News X. Well, I'm your host Kramer, and today we're diving into one of the biggest stories shaking up global markets right now. The United States has officially imposed new sanctions on Russia's two largest oil giants. We're talking about Rosneft and Lukoil, in a major move aimed at pressuring Mr. President Putin to end the ongoing war in Ukraine. This is one of the toughest economic measures from Washington since the start of the conflict, and it's already sending ripples across the global energy market. So let's break it down to see what's happening, how Russia is reacting to this latest news, and what this means for the US and the rest of the world. But first, a quick look at the players on this topic. All right, so I'm going to be talking about Rosneft first, because Russia's state-owned oil company is the country's largest producer, pumping out roughly 3.8 million barrels of oil per day. So if you think about it, that's roughly and nearly 40% of Russia's total output. Then we have Lukoil, the second largest producer, responsible for about 1.6 million barrels per day. So combined, these two companies supply a major portion of the oil that fuel not just Russia, just to let you know, economy, but also a big chunk of Europe and parts of Asia, especially Southeast Asia. So when the US Treasury announced sanctions on both companies this week, it wasn't just a political move. It was an economic earthquake, a shock for Russia, in other words. Now, how Russia is taking this news, because I'm pretty much sure they're not very happy about this, when Trump said that and announced that at the White House. According to early reports, President Vladimir Putin has called the sanctions, listen to this, an act of economic warfare. He's accusing Washington of trying to destabilize Russia's energy sector, one of the most powerful tools on the world stage. Well, inside Russia's government officials have already scrambling to limit the fallout. Analysts say that while Russians won't feel the full impact immediately, the real economic pain could hit within the next 60 to 90 months. Maybe a little, I would say like 8 months to a year, maybe, but definitely it's gonna hit him. Cities that heavily depend on oil production, like Tyumen, Surgut, and I'm gonna try to spell this word. I don't speak Russian, but Nisivostovsk could face the first wave of economic slowdown. These regions are home to major oil fields and refineries, meaning job cuts, reduced output, and lower local revenues could all follow very soon. So, why did the Trump administration move forward with this now? Well, sources inside the White House say it's part of a larger strategy to weaken Russia's ability to fund his military operations in Ukraine and other regions. By targeting Rosneft and Lukoil directly, the US is striking at Russia's financial heart. Oil exports make up more than 35% of its national budget. So there you have it, guys. That's their final answer right there. President Trump reportedly said, "We cannot allow the world's biggest energy bullies to hold the global economy hostage." That's coming from Mr. President directly from the White House today. But there's more to it, guys. Analysts believe the sanctions also send a political message to other oil production nations. Yes. So if you're aligned with Russia, your financial ties could be next. All right. Now, let's talk about the consequences of these decisions, because I believe the sanctions, they don't just affect Russia, believe it or not. So global oil markets are reacting fast. Prices have already climbed by about $4 per barrel since the announcement. And experts warn we could see more volatility ahead. So for Americans consumers, that means us, that might mean slightly higher gas prices in the short term, especially in big urban centers like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, where fuel costs tend to rise quickly within global price shifts. So meanwhile, European leaders are watching closely. Many European countries still rely heavily on Russian oil, despite effort to diversify themselves. If supply tightens, that means energy bills across Europe could surge this winter. Yep, unfortunately, it's going to happen. So They need to get ready to spend more money, especially for the heating or in the winter. It costs a lot of money for them, and it's going to happen pretty soon. So what happens next? Well, in the coming weeks, the world will be watching how Russia responds, whether it cuts down production or reroutes export to China and India. I think pretty much this is what's going to happen. He's going to end up selling more oil to Russia and to China and India because those are his biggest also demand, that he has from those two biggest countries. Or ramps up new deals outside the Western markets. I mean, he can probably go to Africa or or Middle Eastern countries, whatever. But one thing's for sure, this move by Washington has redrawn the lines on the global energy map, and the effects will ripple throughout every level of the world's economy. All right, guys. So that's it for today's episode of my Daily News X. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out next deep dive into the world's biggest stories. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and stay connected. I'm your host, Kramer, signing off. Have yourself a great day.